All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and do a full walk around condition report of my 2010 Lotus Evora 2+2 Coupe. Now this vehicle currently has 26,965 very well cared for miles. Now this particular vehicle is equipped with the isotope green base paint job, and then you've got the black leather interior. Definitely one of my favorite color combinations within the Lotus brand. When I purchased this vehicle in August of 2015, I'd been looking for this specific color, and it definitely took me some time to find it. And once I did find it, I jumped on the vehicle and have been extremely happy. Now, I apologize for performing the condition report in my garage. I live on the south end of the Salt Lake City Valley in Utah, and we're experiencing some inclement weather today. We've had a crazy winter, and so we've got some snow and some rain, and I just didn't feel comfortable pulling the vehicle out to shoot this video. So I apologize. I don't have a lot of space in here, so I'll definitely do the best that I can. Now, in 2010, Lotus equipped these vehicles with the 3.5 liter double overhead cam V6 motor, which is a Toyota-based motor, and then you've got a 6-speed manual transmission in this vehicle. Definitely a lot of fun. This vehicle is a lot of bang for your buck as far as the exotic car world goes. Can't go wrong with it. My ultimate goal when I purchased this vehicle is to find something that was exotic but extremely low maintenance. I've had a couple other exotics in the past and just kind of got fed up with some of the costs involved on some of the other brands that I've owned, and I've been extremely happy with this vehicle. I've had very minimal issues, and really haven't had to do a lot of maintenance on the vehicle. As far as repairs, just change the oil, tires, stuff of that sort. So now the vehicle is a 2010, so you are approaching 10 years old. So you're going to have a few minor cosmetic blemishes. And so we'll go ahead and shoot to do some close-up video for you. So we'll get the front end of the vehicle. The tough thing about any sports car, exotic car, they just sit so low to the ground that your front end splitter, you're bound to get some minor scrapes on the front end of the vehicle, unless you're in a Lamborghini with a front end lift. That those cars are equipped with that front end lift where they lift the vehicle a couple inches, and it definitely helps avoid those types of issues. But this vehicle doesn't have a front end lift system, so we'll go ahead and do those close up. So the vehicle is equipped with the Star Shield from the Lotus factory. That is their rendition of clear bra or paint protection film. So you can see the line there, starting there to protect the front end of the vehicle. So the Star Shield, you're starting to get a little bit of blemishing. So you can see on the edge there, you've got a little bit of black marks. That's just from dirt getting under that film and causing that to do that. You can see it right there where they've cut around that front marker light. Pretty common with any paint protection film. You're going to kind of run into that issue. The owner who owned this vehicle before me wrapped the front end splitter with that carbon fiber wrap to help protect it. So you can kind of see that there. When I acquired the vehicle, they'd done the side skirts as well, but that started peeling up a little bit, so I ended up removing that last year. But it was on the vehicle for a good portion of its life to help protect the undercarriage of the vehicle. But so you've got some scraping right up underneath there on that front splitter, and it's been touched up with some touch-up paint. So I'd like you to be aware of that. So the condition of that front vinyl, it's been on there for a little while, so you've got a little bit of chipping and peeling not bad, but that may be something that will need to be redone in the future, just depending on what your preferences are. But good to have that on because it does help protect that front end. We'll kind of move across there to show you the condition of that. This side's not as bad as that passenger side. You've got a little bit there. Keep in mind this is tucked up underneath, so looking worse than it actually is, kind of thing. But I'm very, very transparent. Want to make sure you know what you're getting. Front bumper is in good shape. You do have that star shield on there, so that has protected that front bumper, which is a great thing. That star shield is starting to get a few little rock chip marks, nothing crazy, but you've got a few right there that have penetrated the film. So the front headlights, as mentioned in my condition report area of the listing, they could use a headlight buff. They're not bad, but they could definitely use a headlight buff to look better. And if I held on to the vehicle this year, that was going to be on my to-do list to do. And those should definitely clean up really nice. You've got that front bumper. You've got a hair from my dog. I apologize. That front Lotus emblem starting to discolor a little bit from sun and weather. Those pull off really easy, and can acquire a new one for not very much and pop that back in. Shouldn't be a big deal. Same thing with this side. You've got a little bit of light blemishing to where that headlight should be buffed. And as mentioned before, should definitely clean up nice. Now keep in mind, I took the vehicle out this last week and I haven't had a chance to wash it. I live up on the mountain, and so it's hard to wash it down in town where I've got some of my car washing gear and get it back up here to where the car will stay clean. So the wheels are in fair shape. Whoever owned this vehicle before scratched that wheel, and it's been touched up with some silver touch-up paint. So you've got that area there, right there. You've got some other curb rash right there. These could be refinished. Again, that was on the list for me, was to do either a matte black or a gloss black finish on these in a powder coat. And I was gonna do that in the near future if I end up holding on to the vehicle. So you got the front Bridgestone Potenza tires. They've got approximately 7 to 8 30-seconds. You do have some minor weather checking, and so just want to make sure you're aware of that. The rear tires are replaced about 2 years ago, and they've got right around 3,000 miles on them, and they've got similar tread as well. Obviously your rear tires are going to wear out faster on a rear-wheel drive car. Again, I apologize for the car being filthy. You've got some dirt marks there, and so that is not any blemishing in the paint. You've got that pearl paint, which actually holds up very well. It's in good shape, but again, it is a 10-year-old vehicle, so don't expect it to be absolutely perfect. Car does have 27,000 miles, so just want to make sure you're aware of what you're getting. Driver's front wheel on this side is in decent shape. No major blemishes to point out on this one. You may have a light scuff here and there, but not anything crazy. Again, you've got some minor weather checking on those front tires. And so just want to make sure you're aware of that. So you got those front grille inserts. They're in fair shape. You're going to, you've got a few little light blemishes on them just from age. So nothing crazy, but pretty typical of a car in this age. So front windshield is in great shape. No major blemishes, stars, cracks, nothing of that sort. Is in good shape and should definitely give you some good life there. You've got that driver's mirror. You've got some bug splat here that needs to be cleaned up, but that's protected with the star shield from the Lotus factory. So those have been covered since day one, and so no major blemishing there. Again, I apologize for the minimal space in the garage. Don't have a free range here to where I can get out and do my best video, so I apologize, but we'll do the best we can. The top of the roof is in great shape, no major blemishes to point out. Side of the vehicle is in good shape. You do have a little bit of chipping on that door handle right there. And I had some touch-up paint mixed up for the vehicle, so I'll go ahead and touch that up. But there is a blemish there, so you need to be aware of that. Edge of the door too, I believe has a few little marks as well from rubbing. This was done by the previous owner, so again, I can touch that up with some touch-up paint. That driver's side door obviously has been used a lot more than the passenger side door, but car's still in great shape. Got that side skirt that's in good shape. No major blemishes there. Looks like you've got one little rock chip there in front of the driver's rear tire and wheel. So one thing on the 2010 Lotus Evoras, this engine hatch cover, they had some minor issues with these. The problem is once the motor heats up, it would cause this piece to expand and detract kind of thing. And so if you open up the engine hatch, it was it was bound to catch that rear window, and so you've got a little crack here. The previous owner wrapped this area with that carbon fiber vinyl film, and so you can't see it. I've never taken it off. There's no reason to, just because if you do, you'll end up being able to see that. I'd say probably about 80% of Lotus Evoras, maybe even more, in that 2010, 2011 range had that issue. I believe they eventually ended up doing a recall if you're within a certain mileage. Once I had acquired the vehicle, I think that recall had expired to where I couldn't have that redone or replaced. So again, just want to make sure you're aware of what you're getting. Rear fender is in great shape. You've got the little grill there for your air intake for the motor. You've got one little blemish there on that black screen. Those screens, again, could always be sprayed down the road to look like new. But no major blemishes on that rear fender. You've got those Bridgestone Potenza tires again. You've got right around 8/32 of tread. These were replaced 2 or 3 years ago and have right around 3,000 to 3,500 miles. I know it's right close to there. You do have some curb rash there on the wheels, again, from the previous owner. Again, my plans were to have these refinished and those would be repaired. And so it just depends on what your preferences are, whether you want to have that done or not. Again, the vehicle is dirty, so this back bumper has some dirt on it, dirt and grime, so I apologize. Lighting in the garage isn't the best, but no major blemishes, with the exception of some light surf scratching in the paint, nothing crazy. You do have some star shield on that rear fender, and so that's caught, a lot of the rocks. You can see the blemishing in that star shield. So you could have that redone, but it's just bound to happen again, just with the vehicle flipping up grime. I've got my dealer plate on the vehicle right now. I do have it personally licensed and registered. I just didn't renew the registration because I've been toying around with getting a different vehicle, and so that's the reason behind it. Vehicle pass, emissions, testing is no problem. We've never had any check engine lights come on, and so no worries there, so that's definitely a good thing. You've got that rear end splitter with the stock exhaust. The exhaust tips are bluing a little bit just from warming up and getting hot. This is a stock and factory exhaust system. And you got that same scenario here with the blemishing in that star shield. A lot of this is dirt too, keep in mind. It's not all, you can kind of see me cleaning that up. So don't think those are all blemishes, just so you're aware of that. Again, had a lot of snow melting over the weekend, and so had some moisture get on the vehicle when I drove it home from my car drive this last weekend. Drove the car this last weekend, performed wonderfully, had an absolute blast. So I've been really happy with the car. So you've got a little bit of the peeling vinyl film there. Gas cap lid in good shape. Another thing, ever since I've owned the vehicle, I've always put non-ethanol fuel in this. High octane, non-ethanol fuel. Big believer of non-ethanol fuel. I don't know what your beliefs are, but my mechanic has said or suggests that ethanol is not good for most vehicles, and so I try to stick to the non-ethanol based fuels. See if this might have a little bit of a curb rash on those wheels. So, passenger rear quarter panel in great shape, no major blemishes to point out. The front windows in good shape. They have a tinted film on them as well. I believe you're right around a 35% tint, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We've got the screens for your air intake on the passenger side of the vehicle in good shape. You've got some dirt and debris up on that side. So I was going to show you, and I forgot to mention that this is covered with clear bra. You've got a mark here, but this is clear bra, and that should come off. This was done by a previous owner. I don't know what dragged here, but this can be taken off, and you'll have clear paint. And so just want to make sure you're aware of that as well. It's just a black line. I don't know what they've dragged across, but they dragged across something. There is no damage to the paint. I can feel it. You can run your fingers across, no issues there. So if you wanted, I could have that taken off before it leaves to ensure that's the case. Just let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. So no major, or actually no blemishes on this door handle, anything of that sort. Got that front passenger side mirror. Again, you're covered in the Star Shield / clear bra. Again, protecting that paint from any blemishes. Again, it is a 2010, and that's probably the year of the material, so you're going to have some minor blemishing there. All right, so that kind of sums it up for most of the exterior. I'll go ahead and show you some of the interior shots so you're aware of what the interior looks like. So most of your wear and tear is on this driver's side, just because it is a sports car. That's just kind of bound to happen. As mentioned in the listing description, you've got some wear on that seat bolster. Absolutely common on any exotic car, sports car, to have this, just because you're sliding in and out of that vehicle. You've got a few minor nicks on that door sill trim. Side door panel is in good shape on this side, no major blemishes to point out. I apologize for the dirt in the car. Again, I took it out this weekend, so there's a little bit of dirt and grass on that front floor mat. So cruise control, everything functions as it should there. You've got all your, like your sport button, your fuel door button, your headlights, parking lights, buttons there. Get your cruise control buttons there on the steering wheel. Armrest is in good shape. Dash is a little dirty, I apologize. No major blemishes. You're gonna have some light scratches there. Only thing I would mention is on that recirculate button, when you turn it on, there's a light that's supposed to come on and off for the recirculate function. The light that is supposed to brighten up has burnt out, and so that doesn't turn on or off when you're turning that on. The button does function. You just kind of have to figure out which function's on there. So I thought I'd let you know about that so you're fully aware of what you're getting. You've got my radar detector. That will not come with the vehicle. That will be staying with me. You've got that passenger side airbag. So when I bought this car, the previous owner had not had that recall done, and so I absolutely would not purchase the vehicle unless he had that done, and so he paid for it out of pocket because the recall had expired within a mileage limit. So most of the Lotus Evoras, if you see out on the market, a lot of the guys won't take pictures of that passenger side airbag, and the reason why is because the recall hasn't been done. So most of them are protruding from the dash about, I'd say about 2 inches. They're really that bad. They almost look like they're gonna explode. So that was done when I purchased the vehicle. That was done out of the Lotus dealership out of Denver, Colorado. And so definitely a great thing to have. Dash is in great shape, no major blemishes there. Air conditioning, that's another thing. I believe there was some recalls done on that. I know those were all done. Air conditioning on this car is ice cold, works great. We get some hot summers here in Utah, and I have never had any issues with air conditioning whatsoever. I know some of the other Lotus Evora owners out there have, and so that is definitely a great thing to note as well. Let me get this front seat forward. You've got that rear seat. You're about the smallest rear seat you're ever gonna find. From what I've been told, the reason why they put a rear seat in here is to, it helps with insurance costs. If you have a four-seater car versus having a two-door coupe. Everything back here is in great shape. I'd zoom out, but this doesn't zoom out very well. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of the condition. You got that back seat. You've got a few little light scratches here from going back and forth with that seat belt. Let's go to the passenger side. I don't have a ton of space in this garage. I don't want to damage the door, so I'll try to open that up as the best I can without doing anything stupid. Again, you've got that front dash piece on the passenger side that is smooth, it doesn't protrude, and so definitely a wonderful thing to make sure that's been completed. Got the front Evora floor mats. Paid quite a bit of money just for those. Front passenger seat is in great shape. Now on this door, you probably noticed in the pictures on the listing, there is a vein. Let me see if I can get this to focus. But you've got a vein in this leather that is running down, and so I'm assuming it's from the leather that was used. Sometimes you just have blemishes and things like that happen. But it is there, so I want to make sure you're aware of that. So again, just want to be 100% transparent with you. You've got that door sill. This side's in better shape just because you don't have as much wear and tear. You're probably going to have a few little nicks there. Just from the passengers getting in and out. So let me see if I can put the seat forward. See that back seat in good shape. No major blemishing to point out. So again, you're probably gonna have a few little light scratches on that back casing of that seat just from the seat belt being put on and off. All right, and then let's walk around to the back. I'll open up the rear engine hatch to show you more there. So you've got that rear engine hatch. You've got your motors here. This is a cover for the motor. So this pops up and you can look under the motor there. This hatch, you've got a couple little paint chips in that engine cover. You could touch it up, you could respray it if it drove you nuts. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Those struts, I replaced these struts right when I bought it. They're doing pretty good if it's extremely cold weather. Sometimes they'll get a little tired, but I think it's mainly because of the cooler weather. But I want you to be aware of that. The rear trunk area is in decent shape. You've got the little tab on this light has broken, and so that pulls out and goes back in. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. in that corner, you've got your canister. It's a canister it's kind of like a fix-a-flat can to help if you get a flat tire. You've got your rear cargo net. This side over here is where your battery is, behind this cover. Whoever's owned it before, they trimmed it a little bit, that battery cover, so they could attach a battery tender. I keep the car on a battery tender whenever it's not being driven. You just don't want to let the batteries go dead on these cars. If they do, it's a major pain in the butt to get into the rear trunk area, from what I've heard. You've got a little bit of discoloring on that air intake hose just from heat. So you've got your upper panels on the engine hatch. They're in good shape. So I think that pretty much sums it up there. I do have 2 sets of keys and key fobs for the vehicle. Always a great thing to have in case you lose a set. I've got a couple buddies who always lose a set of keys, so it's always nice to have that second set of keys. I do have the original owner's manual, so on and so forth. Garage shut. I'm going to go ahead and fire the car up for you just so you can see there's no warning lights, check engine lights, anything of that sort. Your mileage, as mentioned before, went out this prior weekend and took out the vehicle. Car performed great. You've got your seatbelt light and your emergency brake light there. Your TPMS sensors haven't engaged yet. You've got to drive it a small distance to get those to engage. Those function. So got your backup camera that functions. I'll get out real quick. I don't want to spend too much time in here with the garage shut. Don't want to asphyxiate myself. But you hear the car runs well. Engine doesn't make any weird noises. So let's get in and shut her down. If I do take another video tomorrow outside, I'll get you a better video of the car running. Again, just don't want to fixate myself. Don't want to rev her up too much with her being cold. So we'll go ahead and put her back in gear and shut her down. Now, if you guys do have any additional questions, definitely don't hesitate to ask me. I'd be more than happy to address any questions or concerns. Again, I apologize for having this video be in my garage. It's just snowing pretty hard outside. Just didn't feel that it was fit circumstances to do an exterior video. Most definitely appreciate your time. And again, if you do have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask me. And I look forward to working with you. So thank you so much.